Hey, Harvest Kids, it's Mr. Carlos and Eddie with this week's Bible story. Hey, Eddie, how's it going?
It's going great, Mr. Carlos. It's good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you too, Eddie. Are you looking forward to today's story?
You know it, Mr. Carlos. I'm always looking forward to the Bible story. What's today's story?
Well, it's a great question. Today's story is called God Chooses Noah, and it's story number 5 from the Gospel Story Bible. It's a great story, so I hope you're ready, and we're glad you're here. So let's get to it, Eddie.
You got it, Mr. Carlos.
All right, Harvest Kids, today's story is from the book of Genesis, chapter 6 and 7. Eddie, take it away.
You got it. After Cain killed Abel, Adam and Eve went on to have other sons and daughters. Their children married, had children, and the number of people on the earth began to grow and grow. Some of those people obeyed God. Many more did not. God looked down on the earth and saw that people had become very, very wicked. All the time their hearts were filled with sinful thoughts. The people were cheaters. They hurt one another, and they did not love God. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved his heart.
And that's from the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 6.
That day, God decided to destroy the wicked people, the animals, the insects, and the birds, and start again. But there was one man God was pleased with. His name was Noah. The Bible tells us that Noah walked with God. Noah lived with his wife and 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. He was 500 years old when he had those sons. God called out to Noah and told him his plan to bring a flood to destroy everything that breathes. He told Noah to make an ark, a great ship that would be large enough to hold all the kinds of animals the Lord had created. God told Noah just how to build the ark and what to bring inside. It took a long time to finish the ark. Noah was 600 years old by the time it was done. When it was ready and the time for the flood was near, God commanded Noah to bring the animals and his family into the ark. In 7 days the flood would come. Noah obeyed God. Then God brought the animals to Noah, 1 mommy and 1 daddy of each kind. When the ark was full, Noah, his wife, and their 3 sons and their wives entered the ark, and the Lord shut the door. Huge amounts of rain poured down from the sky, and great underground springs exploded with water. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The whole earth was flooded, and all the people and animals of the earth died, just as God had said. God saved Noah and his family, but they had to stay in the ark for a whole year until the floodwaters went away. God saved everyone who entered the ark. In Noah's day, the ark was the only way to be saved from God's judgment. Today, Jesus is like our ark. The Bible tells us that only those who are safe in Christ will be saved from God's judgment. So, when you think of Noah's ark that saved him from the flood, remember Jesus, who saves us from our sin. Wow, Mr. Carlos.
That's one of my favorite Bible stories. Me too, Eddie. I love the story of Noah. And it really does point us to Jesus, just like the story reminded us.
It sure does, Mr. Carlos.
Well, Harvest Kids, that does it for this week's Bible story. But before we let you go, we do have some questions for you.
Mr. Carlos?
Yes, Eddie?
Before we get into the questions, all this talk about animals reminded me of some funny animal jokes I know. Would you like to hear some?
Sure, Eddie. I love a good joke.
Okay. Would you like to hear some jokes, Harvest Kids? Well, what do you call a dinosaur with no eyes?
A dinosaur with no eyes? That's odd. I'm not sure, Eddie. What do you call a dinosaur with no eyes?
Do you think he saw us?
Oh, goodness.
That was funny, huh, Mr. Carlos?
That was pretty good, Eddie.
Well, how do bees get to school?
Well, I didn't know bees go to school, so how do they get to school?
Well, by the school buzz, of course.
The school buzz. That was pretty good, Eddie.
Okay, one more. Why didn't the boy believe the tiger?
Huh. Why didn't the boy believe the tiger?
Well, he thought the tiger was a lion.
He thought the tiger was a lion. Oh, like a lion. I get it.
Wow, Mr. Carlos. Those are good jokes, weren't they?
Yeah, well, I hope you like those jokes, Harvest Kids. Eddie, thank you for sharing those. But now let's get to the questions. What do you say?
That's a good idea, Mr. Carlos. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, Harvest Kids, there on the screen you see a picture of the ark and some animals. So that's our first question. Can you name some of the animals that went into the ark?
That's right. You have elephants and giraffes and camels, and it looks like there's some monkeys in there. All kinds of animals went into the ark.
Yeah, very good, Eddie. So what else had to go into the ark? Or who else had to go into the ark?
Well, Mr. Carlos, besides the animals, Noah and his family had to go into the ark.
Absolutely, that's exactly right, Eddie. Okay, last question. How does the ark remind us of Jesus?
Well, Jesus saves us from our sin, just like the ark saved Noah from the flood.
That's right, Eddie. Very good job. We need to know and remember to trust in Jesus and follow him when he tells us to come to him. Just like God commanded Noah to build the ark and find safety there. So very good, Eddie. Thank you so much for that. Well, Harvest Kids, that does it for this week's questions. Thank you again for joining us. And before we let you go, we can't leave without reminding you that
you are loved.